Welcome to the August 7th, 2020 video version of the Wagner Daily. My name is Rick Petticelli, and as usual, once a week, this video replaces the written commentary portion of our report. Hopefully it serves as a nice change of pace and offers some insight as to how we set up our charts, what time frames and indicators we use. We're going to run through a few broad market averages, then we're going to cover open positions in the model portfolio, and finally we'll see what's out there in terms of potential new setups. First up, the Nasdaq Composite, which so far has had a really good week of trading after 2 weeks of stalling around 10,800 on the weekly chart to the right here. Here are the 2 weeks of stalling. Price action gapped above the resistance on Monday and has followed through nicely this week. And the same can be said in the S&P 500. After breaking out but stalling at around 3280, the price pulled back to the 20-day EMA and held a bullish sign, and then gapped to new highs on Monday and has followed through during the week here. So pretty nice week for both indices. And what we want to avoid doing is trying to call a top in the market. It sure did look like the Nasdaq was going to pause for more than 2 weeks last week, and we're already back to new highs. So it's a good reminder that the market will tell us when it's done. There's no need to predict. And one thing also to remember is that while a lot of traders monitor distribution days, and they're extremely important, what I think is important is when there is distribution, where's the money rotating to? If it's rotating to bullish setups that are breaking out, that's a positive thing and negates the distribution in an extended group. However, if we see 2 to 3 distribution days and we don't see money rotating into any bullish setups, that could be cause for concern. Right, on to open positions. And GSX, we're up about 49% from our entry, just below 88 on 731. We sold a quarter of the position today, around 127, to lock in some gains, but we're looking to hold the rest as long as the price action stays above this 5-day moving average. Next up is Z. Z we purchased right around 68 here on a breakout on 730, and it's up about close to 4% and reported after the close today. It's up about 13% in after hours trading, around 81.10. We did sell half of our position though, a little bit less than half, around 40%, because we only had about a 4% profit buffer from our entry. If we had 7 to 10% or more, we might have stuck with the position, but it was a smaller buffer, so we sold half the position, or I should say 40% of the position. Still have the other 60% left, and we'll continue to hold as long as the price stays above the 20-day moving average. PINS, we purchased above the highs of the gap up day. Looks pretty good so far, and there's a tight range day on Thursday. Just a pretty consolidation right now. CHGG, we're up about 22% in from an original entry back in May. And so far, we like the dry up in volume with 2 days in a row of tight price action. If the price can break through this 2-day high, it could continue to push higher. And with CHGG, we're using the 20-day EMA as our selling guide. LULU is another recent entry. We're up about, I think we're long from 727. We're up about, I'd say 3% or slightly less. It hasn't exploded out of its base, but it's not doing anything wrong. It pulled back into the 20 and held, and it cleared resistance on Wednesday, and it held above the 5 MA on Thursday, so it's looking pretty good. And ZS, we're long from a pullback entry to the 20-day EMA after a few weeks of sideways action from 6.1 to 7.6. There was a breakout and then a pullback to the 20-day EMA. We're long over high of 7.16 on 7.17. And we'll continue to hold as long as the price stays above the 20-day moving average. ZM, we initially purchased half a position around 258. We added to our position right at around 272. And currently we're up about 2% on the position. or just under 2%. But we just put it on. We'll have to see how it acts for the next few days. If it holds above this 262 level, the 9-day MA, and can follow through, we could be in pretty good shape. And in net, we're long from about 36, and this was a pullback to the 20-day EMA. We sold about a quarter of the position below the low of 8.4 as it had earnings today. So we wanted to reduce our share size. We sold a quarter for about a 13% gain. Then we sold another quarter, leaving us with a half position at around 40.90 with a 12% gain. So we held the half position into earnings, and there wasn't much of a response in earnings as it closed around 41.10 in after hours trading, which is basically where it closed at. Right now we have a tight stop in place if it breaks Thursday's low. Next up is OCTA. We have a half position from around 210. We added more over 223, which unfortunately stopped us out today beneath the low of 731. If the price action continues to chop around here in a tight range, we'll look to re-enter that half we were stopped out of. Chewy, we're in from 48.22. So over this downtrend line here, we have a half position in Chewy. We did not get a chance to add because it just gapped and took off on us. But we're up about 15%. We were up almost 21%. So this is a great start for Chewy. We'd like to see the price action just chop around here on lighter volume and find support possibly around the 5 or the 10-day MA. CRWD, we just purchased on 8.5, looking for the price action to hold above the 9-day MA. It did break the 9 here. This is the 9 or the 10, I forget. It is the 9. So it did break the 9, but it did not trigger a stop, which is just beneath the low of 730. So we're still long, but anything could happen tomorrow. And even if we stop out, we'll look for the price action to possibly find support around the 20 and chop around a tight range and see if we can't locate another entry. And last up here is TWLO. TWLO's had a rough few days in a row, but we're up about 40-something% as it reported earnings on 8.5, I believe. And so we'll continue to stay long TWLO until it breaks the 20-day EMA on a closing basis. In terms of what's out there for potential buy setups here in the next few days, we're going to run through a few right here. We have BRP, tight price action here. Here's a potential entry right below the downtrend line. 10B, big volume gap up. Price pulled back, undercut the gap up day low. Already reported earnings. We look for a break of this downtrend line as a possible buy entry, so over the 34.18 to 34.50 area. For aggressive traders, BILL has a tight range pause here on 8.6. If it can clear the day's highs, could set a new high. We'd probably place a stop beneath that day's low. DADA broke a downtrend line, rallied about close to 20% and is in a tight range here the past few days on light volume. If it can clear this 3-day high, could see another move up, possibly to the highs of the base. MDB is interesting. It's held the 50-day MA with the price action tightening up. Here's the downtrend line. A breakout entry above the downtrend line is probably the obvious entry. Getting in closer to the 50-day MA right here, if it can break through 220, is not so obvious, and one could probably enter right there for half position and then look to add on strength. And last up is UCTT. Pull back into the rising 9 EMA here after a big volume breakaway gap up. So we look for support to hold around the 9 and then for the price action to break this downtrend line. All right, well, that's a wrap for tonight's video. Overall, market conditions are bullish. I don't see a lot of stocks that are ready to break out from traditional basing patterns such, as a 5-week flat base or a 7 to 8 week cup with handle. But we just have to remain patient, and new setups will eventually emerge as long as conditions are bullish.